Okay, so I'm having this conversation with my dear friend from across the pond, Miss Adelia, and we were talking about spirituality, and she shared with me a dream that's similar to something I would tell a lot of my colleagues in business. I spoke about a situation where there's a group of lumberjacks working out in the forest, and they're chopping down trees and chopping down trees and they're chopping down trees. And the foreman of the forest, he sees what's going on, and he stands on top this big, huge mound, and he's yelling at the guys, hey, guys, what are you doing? You're going the wrong way. And the guys respond to him proudly saying, yes, but we're making good time. And it's profound to me, because people get excited by how fast that they're going, but they don't appreciate that they might be going the wrong way. So Miss Adelia, she tells me this dream that she had that's similar to that, and I just had to share it. So with that, I want to introduce this young lady, because you scared me. I'm not gonna lie. Your dream scared me, and I think that what you are going to share is going to help a lot of people. So with that, I'd like to just give you the floor.
Okay. Well, it was one of the times where the Father caught me up into what I know is heavenly realms, and I was in a house, a mansion, and it was myself and the Father alone in the mansion, and it was very dark in the mansion, and outside was brilliant bright light. The sun was shining. It's a beautiful day. Everybody was in good spirits. And I was looking out, and I was the only one in there. And I'm like, Father, why am I the only one inside here? And he told me, keep looking. And as I looked out the window, I could see a procession of people, thick procession of people going past. And at the beginning of the procession, they were just playing music and walking, and they were in good spirits, and everyone was having fun. And I was like, Father, why am I with these people? Why am I in this mansion here by myself? Why aren't I with everybody else? And he told me to keep watching. And as I moved down the procession, as I looked further to the front of the procession, the scene began to change slightly. And they started out just walking, having fun. Then as I moved along, it looked more like Rio Carnival. And people were getting more naked. They were kind of drinking more, and they were partying more. And it was more like Rio, Brazil, that type of carnival with nakedness. And I was like, oh, but Father, I'm still inside. Everybody's outside having fun. I'm in here. Why can't I go outside? He said, stay here, keep watching. And as I looked down the line further to the front of the procession, it began to get more and more debaucherous. And they were naked, they were having sex, they were having all kinds of orgies, and all kind of debauchery was getting more and more towards the front of the line of the procession. And I looked and I was like, Father, what's going on? He said, keep watching. And as I watched, they turned the right hand side, they turned the corner, and they were just dropping into the lake of fire, group by group, just dropping in as they turned the corner. And the whole procession was partying in complete ignorance, no idea that they were going further and further down this road of debauchery, heading towards the lake of fire. And the Father said to me, they're going the wrong way. And I had seen loads of people that I knew. My mother, my very own mother, was at the early part of the procession. Preachers, pastors, friends, family were all in the early part of the procession, not in the naked part, not in the carnival part, but they were still in the procession anyway. And I couldn't understand why the Father had me in the house and I wasn't out there with them. But he told me they were going the wrong way, and they were all just following this line. It looked like a beautiful carnival, and everybody was just going along in ignorance, complete ignorance as to where they were heading, but they were falling into the lake of fire. And that was my dream. And it was more than a dream. It was real. It was as real to me as anything that I ever experienced with the Father. He's caught me up into heaven a few times, And I know when I'm in heaven, and I know when I'm with the Father. And it's a very real experience for me, and it never leaves my spirit. I remember it like it's yesterday, you know. And that's what he said. They're going the wrong way. Everybody was going the wrong way. Everybody. No one was in the mansion with me. Not one soul. No one was in there with me. Just me and the Father. Oh, I can't hear you, brother.
I'm sorry, I had it muted out because I didn't want to take the chance of interrupting you with that. But you know, as I understand it, the path to righteousness is narrow, and the apparently
Very.
what you dreamed about was the masses of people that unfortunately will be lost and going in the wrong direction. And you know, when I look at what's happening today, a lot of people, I get a lot of praise and a lot of support from people that appreciate some of the things that I'm trying to do right now for the community, and I definitely appreciate them. But when we're out there every day and we're trying to help people, you want to believe that what you're doing is actually helping people.
Yeah.
And you want to believe that your efforts will not only help the people, but help the people help the people. Even though the road to righteousness might be narrow, it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be crowded.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's the exact opposite. And I won't lie, I'm not the most perfect person in the world. I've done my share of stuff in my
We
life.
all have. We all have, brother. We all have. It's horrifying to think if you make a count, because the Father, there was an occasion where the Father caught me up again, and what he showed me was like a television screen in front of my face, and it was flashing everything I'd ever done in my life. And that was one of the most terrifying experiences I had in front of the Father, because it was full of shame and humiliation and times where I said the wrong thing, did the wrong thing, disrespected somebody. It was every single inch of my life that he disapproved of. And I couldn't say anything to him. I had nothing to say about it, only just to feel the shame and the horror. And he was like, is this how you want to be? Is this how you want to go? Is this how you're going to live? And I was like, no, I don't mean to live this way. you know he showed me on a television screen every second of my life. And it's hard. It's not an easy walk, because there's times I've misspoken to somebody, like on a telephone call or whatever, and I've hung up the phone. I've had to call back. My spirit wouldn't let me sleep or rest. I had to call back and say, I will apologize if I was disrespectful to you. I apologize if I was rude. I apologize if I was short with you and I snapped at you. I've got a few things on my mind and it wasn't to do with you. I've had to do that many a time, to retrace my steps and my behavior, and to repent and apologize to these people that I've disrespected or I've not spoken to in a civil manner as I should do. The Father drags me up, and he drags me up pretty sharpish. you know he doesn't waste time in me. He pulls me up every time, and it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant. So we have to, it's a very, very circumspect walk. A very circumspect walk.
I turn 50 next year, and in the
Oh, you're looking
yeah,
good.
I know. Don't get started. I don't want to know. But in the half century I've been alive, I've been blessed, really blessed. I've gotten to do a lot of things. I'm proud. I've been to so many different countries, and I've gotten to do so many different things. And in everything that I've done in my life, it has enhanced my thinking towards the world and given me great stories to tell my kids and even my grandchildren. But in everything that I've done, even whether it be for the military, a lot of humanitarian missions, a lot of things that I've done that was really good, how lasting was it? How lasting was it? Because you still have so much stuff happening in the world today. And I guess, with all, like you said, I had to repent, oh my God, you know, my having my first grandbaby and having all the children that have been birthed into my family, I don't know if I've had the dream of all my entire life flashing before my eyes, but you can see everything that you did wrong when you look at
Yeah.
what's right in the children that are coming up, and you don't want them to suffer because of the bad decisions that you made.
Mhm.
So, and I made one or two bad decisions in my life, one or two bad decisions per second.
I was going to say one or two,
Yeah, yeah.
especially.
I've made a host of bad decisions, but I'd like to say that I've learned from many of those. And you
Yeah.
know, I forget who says it, but those who don't learn from their past are doomed to repeat it. And every time I didn't learn, down that
Yeah.
slippery slope I went, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, right now, I think where we are in the nation, in the world, we're going down that same path. So you telling me about your dream, it frightened me because it's happening
It
right
is.
now. You
Yeah.
know, it's in our face. And what's so messed up about it, what I take from your dream is we don't know what's going on around that corner. But around that
Yes.
corner, people are falling into a pit of fire. And before
Yeah.
you get around that corner, everyone's celebrating it.
It's
You don't
fun.
even,
It was laughter, happiness. Everybody
yes,
was
are you
invested.
serious? We are
And the
literally,
sun was shining. The sun was so bright. Everybody was like, "Yay!"
we are literally celebrating our own demise. That's
Exactly.
exactly what it is.
Exactly.
And so when I hear, I'm not people know I'm not a super Christian. I'm a spiritualist that's in search of finding the answers, the true answers, not the information that somebody who wants to see me fall wants me to have, or not
Mm-hmm.
collective wisdom of people who have been going the wrong way. I want to know what the
Mm-hmm.
truth is, and for me,
Yeah.
the truth cannot be that as wide as the road is to that pit of fire, that cannot be my truth. And if it is my truth, I don't want that truth to be the truth for my children, you know? So
Exactly.
I have to
Exactly.
do whatever I can now while I'm still upright and breathing to try to
Mm-hmm.
create a world where when I do get called home, whether I end up in the pit of fire or I end up in the promised land, at least my children have an opportunity to have a better future for themselves. And
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah, so if anything
Yeah.
is flashing before my eyes right now, it's seeing the countless people that are leaving this world unprepared, the
Yeah.
countless number of people that are leaving this world before their time, uh,
Yeah.
and the countless number of people that are celebrating my perception of evil, and
Yes.
and they do so. You have those who know what's happening that do nothing, or they're unafraid to fight, or they're disinterested, or they've given up. They don't believe
Mm-hmm.
they don't believe that getting out there and fighting for what's right is going to be effective. I would rather die fighting the good fight and lose than not fight at all,
Absolutely.
you know? And
Absolutely.
too many of us are out there and we're witnessing what's happening and sitting on the sidelines and waiting. I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but I'm gonna say this because, so many people are out there sitting on the sidelines waiting because they say that, this is God's plan and we should wait on God. God has warriors too. And God
Yeah.
would not give his warriors, his or her warriors, the abilities that he has given them if he didn't expect them to use them.
Mm-hmm.
Why,
Mm-hmm.
why would he give
Mm-hmm.
you free will if he didn't expect you to use the free will? Why would he give you intelligence if he didn't expect you to be smart enough to understand his word? Why?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
But yet you sit
Mm-hmm.
on the sidelines and you try to interpret God's word from the sidelines because you're expecting him to do everything for you, and then you get upset when it doesn't work out the way that you want it to. He gave you all
Mm.
the tools.
Yeah. He
So,
does.
and it's so funny how when it comes time to do the good work, everyone can sit on the sidelines and wait on God, but we can continue to celebrate along that long, wide path until it's time
Yeah.
for us to turn that right corner and end up in fire. I really thank you for that.
You're
And
welcome. You're welcome. It's a pleasure. Absolute
I,
pleasure.
I'm going to be
I
thinking
mean,
about that one for a while. I remember I read Revelation. The first time I read Revelation, I think I was like 8 or 9. And
wow.
yeah, you know,
You
and
started early.
it read like a horror movie, you know, I had this limited knowledge of what good and evil was. So in my head, I'm reading
Oh,
Revelation
bless
and I'm
you.
getting scary. The scariest movie I ever saw was when I was around 8, and it was called When a Stranger Calls, and everything that was happening, and to find out the guy was still living in the house. That's how I
I saw
felt.
that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember that movie.
yeah. That's how I felt when I read Revelation. And here's the cold-blooded part about it. It's still just as scary, especially now that it's being played out.
Absolutely. And
So
it's becoming more of a reality. We're getting closer and closer to that time. Everywhere you look, signs of the times, it's terrifying, to be
well,
fair. If you understand what season we're in, you
yeah.
should be afraid. Be very afraid.
Well, unfortunately, the remedy that I had for being afraid when I was 8 after reading Revelation was just closing the book.
Yeah.
Sadly, we can't just close the book on what's happening right now. So thank you
Yeah.
again. You're scary, I got to tell you.
I haven't even told you the other visions and dreams
I
I
can't.
had.
You know what? I can only handle one of those a day. Don't. I just told you I'm turning 50 next year, so I'm already on water pills. Taking baby aspirin every day. Don't give me another one of them stories, because I ain't ready to answer God's call just yet. I got a little bit more. So again, thank you. I'm going to definitely share this, because oh my God. And what time is it there right now?
Now it's 10 to 11,
10 to
nearly
11.
11 p.m.
It's almost 11 o'clock. You're supposed to be to sleep, and I'm the one getting a nightmare. I got it. Thank you again. You're the best.
Oh, bless you, brother. It's always a pleasure.
All right, now. Bye-bye.
Shalom.